Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. Good morning. Welcome. Ms. Truckman, let's start with you. Tanzania is engaged in a sustained and escalating assault on religious freedom. The government is carrying out a deliberate campaign to intimidate Christians and to suppress religious activity. In the lead up to the October 2025 election, Tanzanian authorities barred Christian gatherings, restricted church activity, and weaponized state power to control religious expression. Those elections were marked by the dismantling of opposition parties and the arrest and abduction of political leaders. Look at Nigeria. This is how it unfolds. The persecution of Christians is downplayed by senior officials while violence escalates, especially in Nigeria's middle belt, with zero accountability. We should not repeat that mistake in Tanzania. The Trump administration was right to initiate a review of the U.S.-Tanzania relationship. The ongoing repression of Christians should be met with consequences. Do you believe that Tanzania is engaging in serious religious freedom violations?
Thank you for that question, Senator. I absolutely am aware of and agree with your observations about the banning of opposition parties and targeting of Christians before the October 2025 election and the bilateral review that is ongoing and that will hold Tanzania to account. That is a critical part of the ongoing bilateral review. And it's a non-negotiable for me as someone who cares deeply about religious freedom and is litigated in that area. That's something that I'm especially attuned to, and I will be keenly observing what threats continue in the country and ensuring that that is part of the bilateral review. There is a provision in the Tanzanian Constitution guaranteeing the freedom of religion. Those are words that have to have meaning. And as Justice Scalia said, it's easy to make those promises on paper. That's not enough. They have to be lived.
Well, thank you for being vigilant on that. It is needed. Mr. Rodriguez, migration from Guatemala continues to directly impact the United States. Human smuggling networks have moved tens of thousands of Guatemalan migrants into the United States. Transnational criminal organizations profit off chaos at our border and undermine U.S. law enforcement efforts. When I traveled last fall to El Salvador, Panama, and Mexico, I saw firsthand how migration routes are organized and facilitated across the region. Guatemala sits at the center of that flow, both as a source country and as a transit country. We should continue engaging Guatemala in counter-narcotics, cartel activity, and illegal immigration.
Senator Ted Cruz delivers a powerful line of questioning during a Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing, raising concerns about religious freedom violations in Tanzania, escalating violence against Christians, illegal immigration from Guatemala, cartel activity, and China's growing influence in Latin America. During the hearing, Cruz warns about the dangers of ignoring persecution and compares developments in Tanzania to violence seen in Nigeria's Middle Belt. The discussion then shifts to migration routes, border security, transnational criminal organizations, and fears that Guatemala could abandon Taiwan under pressure from Beijing.
Centralized targeting centers serve as cornerstones of the U.S.-Guatemala relationship. We're moving in the right direction, but more should be done. What specific steps will you take to reduce illegal immigration from Guatemala to the United States and to make sure that that reduction is long-term?
Senator Cruz, thank you. I think the primary focus has to be in developing more interagency involvement with Guatemala's police and law enforcement. We already provide training. We have vetted groups inside of Guatemala. We provide financial assistance for the training, and I think that has to be furthered. And my understanding is that the Arevalo administration has been very cooperative with the United States in that regard.
Additionally, in Guatemala, the Chinese Communist Party is aggressively working to flip Guatemala and to strip Taiwan of one of its last remaining allies in the Western Hemisphere. This is part of a broader campaign to isolate Taiwan, to erode its global standing, and to expand Beijing's influence in our own backyard. Panama and Honduras were promised economic opportunity after cutting ties, but what they got instead were opaque deals and deeper dependence on Beijing. Now the Chinese Communist Party is applying the same model in Guatemala, targeting political and business elites to push a break with Taipei. What would it mean for U.S. interest if Guatemala flips from Taiwan to China? And if confirmed, what's your plan to ensure that Guatemala stays aligned with Taiwan and more broadly aligned with the United States rather than China?
It would be a blow to national security if Guatemala were to flip its support from Taiwan to China. In my view, the way to counteract the economic coercion of China, because that's what it does, is to encourage more direct foreign investment in Guatemala by the Taiwanese government and by the United States. I think the United States can be doing a lot more with respect to countering malign influences of China, for example, in the cybersecurity area. I think we can do a lot more to encourage the cell phone company, for example, to migrate away from the Huawei software. There's no reason why the cell phone company, which is owned by the United States holding company, cannot be using a trusted vendor from the United States for its backbone.
Thank you.
Senator Cruz, thank you.
Please, don't forget to like, comment, and hit the subscribers button for more political updates.